What's up, Collector Squad? We are back today with a double statue review. And man, I can't tell you how excited I am about this. This literally may be like my favorite statue review that I've ever done. We've got Darth Revan and Darth Malak from XM Studios in the house. Again, just so excited. If you don't know who these guys are, they're technically from Star Wars Legends now, but if you've never played the original Knights of the Old Republic game that came out way back in the day on the Xbox, the original Xbox, do yourself a favor, go back and play it now, because it's probably a top 3 video game ever for me that I've ever played, and it's the best Star Wars game that's ever been made in my opinion. They're actually remaking it coming soon, like complete redo, which should be really, really cool. But these two characters are featured in it. Darth Revan, maybe one of my favorite characters ever from Star Wars, probably like a top 10 for me, which is actually saying a lot because I love Star Wars. Darth Malak is an amazing character, really cool Sith. So when XM announced these two, that they were coming out in a pair, I was like, I've got to get them both. I never thought a licensed company would do these two characters, and they said that they're doing like a Star Wars Legends line. So hopefully they continue to make these characters that really haven't been made before, that are from Star Wars Legends, may not even be canon. That would be amazing. I think one they've got to add is Bastila from the Knights of the Old Republic game. But guys, these statues are incredible. I'm so excited to review them. Just a little backstory on these guys if you don't know. They were both originally Jedi, and they actually disobeyed. This is way before like Darth Vader, like 4,000 years before Darth Vader came along, and it was back in the Mandalorian Wars, which have actually been referenced in the Mandalorian show that has come out recently, which is really cool. But I hope we get like maybe a movie or a show with these guys pretty soon. But anyway, they disobey the Jedi Council, and they actually get involved in the Mandalorian Wars with some of their followers, and they actually pursue some of the remnants of the Mandalorians into like deep space, again as Jedi, but they disobeyed the Jedi Council's orders, and they kind of complete their fall to the dark side while they're out in deep space, and they actually come back to actually conquer the Republic. So they're really cool characters. Revan's the master, Malak's the apprentice. If you play the game, spoiler alert here, but Malak actually betrays Revan, fires on his gunship when he's exposed, and so Revan actually almost dies, loses his memory, and you find out like during the game that your character that you're playing with is actually Revan after the Jedi wiped his memory. So just a really, really cool story, one of the best like surprises ever in a video game if you've played it. Again, just such cool characters. I'm so excited to review them. So let's get started. All right, so we're actually going to start with Revan. I'm going to review them kind of individually, but it'll all be in this one video. But we're going to start with Revan, and we're actually going to start with the base. And one thing I'll go ahead and say about both bases is that they do light up. There's kind of lights on the base where you just hit a button. There's batteries. I actually did not put the batteries in there. I just don't like putting batteries in my statues. I've just heard horror stories about what they like can do from the inside of a statue. But again, it is a cool feature if you want to use it. I just know that they're going to be behind glass. I'm never going to be turning that on, so I don't have the batteries in there. But it is a cool feature if you want to actually light that up. But you can see that the base, it is very well done. It's got a nice paint job on it. It's like a space station or a spaceship base, and nice kind of metal look going around the sides, some kind of wires and everything going around the edges. There's one piece right here that kind of lays on the base that I actually had a little bit of trouble kind of figuring out where that went. It is actually magnetized. It doesn't key in anywhere. But if you kind of lay it down across the back edge, you'll actually see that it kind of just connects like a magnet on the back. So it's pretty cool there. And then you have some nice kind of like lightsaber cuts and strikes across this machinery that's on the base. Painted really well, kind of a reddish orange. So very cool there. It's like Revan's been slicing some things up on this ship. So very, very cool. I do really, really like the base. As you can kind of see, it does match up with Malak's base as well. So that's really cool. So going up to Revan himself, because that's really what I want to talk about. Guys, the detail on this statue is absolutely incredible. I would argue that Revan might be the coolest looking Star Wars character of all time. And XM just like captured every single amazing detail. And not only is it just sculpted really, really well, but it's painted really, really well too. So we'll start down kind of at the boots. Just a lot of detail on the boots, kind of like some metal, a lot of kind of armored areas, which is one of the cool things about Revan's look. He's a Sith, but he's also got some like cool armor that goes along with all of his kind of robes and tunic and everything like that. So it's really, really cool. So the boots are amazing. A lot of paint detail on those. You can tell they're battle worn, like he's been through some crazy wars and things like that. So I mean, they just really did a really great job capturing those boots. And then you go up, guys, the sculpting on the material. And this is fully sculpted, no mixed media, which I absolutely love. If you've watched any of my past reviews, I definitely prefer things to be fully sculpted, especially when it comes to like material like this, especially like on a lot of my Star Wars statues that I've talked about. And there's so many different kind of fabrics and textures on this. It's really amazing. The pants are awesome. There's a kind of cool, just kind of like lined material. Again, everything that I'm going to talk about is kind of battle worn and scarred up. So it's really, really cool. The red kind of sash that comes down the middle has a nice flow to it. It is, again, battle worn, and it kind of keys in on the belt. And again, just this whole statue has great movement. The skirt's kind of going around the back is kind of a different material as well. Great movement, kind of flow to it. And one of my favorite parts of the whole statue is actually kind of this midsection here, his body armor. It's got kind of a bronze paint to it with some blacks going in there and everything. And then you can see there's like these rings that kind of go across the belt all the way around the back, the kind of big ring in the middle, and then some up here on the chest, and then just awesome design here kind of in the midsection on all the armor. So you've got the awesome gauntlets here, again, battle damaged, really cool paint, all kind of nicked up and everything, and then it goes all the way across the chest. Just awesome design. And again, just painted really, really well. So it just captures his armor so good. And you can see kind of up here on the shoulders too, the shoulder guards, which just kind of matches all of this armor, kind of peeking out from under his cape as well. So again, XM just did an amazing job with this statue. I love it. I really don't think they could have done much of a better job, and I'm just so pleased with it. Really cool texture too. You can kind of see it's a different texture on the shoulder guards versus like the gauntlets and even the chest armor as well. And just Revan's costume, just all through here is just so unique, again, kind of like I said, and just looks so cool. So again, just very, very pleased with it. Thought XM did a really good job. And then let's talk about the lightsabers for a second. Revan's most recognized lightsaber is actually the purple one back here. And I've actually got it in the reverse grip. I think that's this is how I'm going to display it when I put it in the case. I like having the one kind of red lightsaber out in front of him. And then if you see a lot of the art of Revan, he's depicted as like holding a lightsaber, whether it's one or two, at least one of them in kind of the reverse grip where it's back behind him. So I kind of wanted to capture that in this pose, and I think it just looks really, really cool to have the one out in front and the back one in the reverse grip. They did a great job capturing the details of his lightsaber, as I've always kind of seen it, so I think they did a really good job. The hilt looks really cool, and the blade looks nice. The lightsabers don't actually light up, but again, that's fine. Like I said, kind of about the base, I would never light it up anyway. I might light it up like the one time I get it out of the box and then never do it again, so I'm fine with that. Again, it kind of keeps the electronics out of it to where it can kind of devalue your statue if that ever stops working. So I'm fine with it. Not that I would ever sell this, but again, great job on the purple lightsaber. Great detail on the red one as well. Again, really nice hilt there. Again, this purple one's kind of the more classic one that you're used to seeing. But again, nice blade, kind of clear, translucent resin look. And just really cool that you have multiple poses. And we'll take a look at the other kind of switch outs too on Revan before we're done with the video too. But really nice job on the lightsabers. I really like the pose. I know it's kind of, he's got the one leg up and the one leg out, but he just looks like he's in an action pose, just ready to go at somebody. So I think the pose is very, very fitting. And again, it's nothing too crazy, but I don't think it had to be, because the detail and everything else that's done on this is just absolutely incredible. And then you go back to kind of the back of the hood and the cape, and man, the movement of the material, the folds and everything, the flow, it is sculpted so well. And again, I'm just so glad they did not do any mixed media, which XM doesn't really typically do anyway, which I love. And the cape is like battle scarred. It's got like some slashes and a lot of wear and tear, especially across kind of the bottom that might like drag the ground and things like that. So man, it's just really good. Nice flow and movement to the statue instead of kind of a static, just loose look kind of going down to the ground. So again, just very nice job. I wish this was almost like going to be like on a turntable where I could see the back of it too. Maybe something I need to do at some point, but just really cool. And this actual like his head and the cape is all just one big piece that just keys into the neck. And then you've got the switch out hands here and a switch out arm in the front, which again, we'll take a look at those. But yeah, it's awesome. And coming up here to his head, that's one of my favorite parts of the statue. One of my favorite parts of the look of Revan is his like helmet is actually like a Mandalorian helmet that he got during the Mandalorian Wars, and he wears that. It's very much like kind of an intimidation factor. Like most people don't know what he looks like, and the design on it is just great. Just so many details, as you can see. Paint is really good. I do think it's kind of important to not display him too low, because he does kind of look down a little bit. So I think kind of having him on like a mid shelf to like an upper shelf is probably the best idea. But they did such a good job capturing the details of his helmet. Again, it's painted really well. It just has that very intimidating look. Guys, I think this is like the ultimate Revan statue. I've seen some custom ones that were pretty good, that I've actually thought about getting at different points in my collecting journey. But man, when this came out, I was just like, this is 100% definite. I've got to get it. Again, one of my favorite characters. I think he's been done just so much justice. XM's got to keep making these Star Wars statues, because they did such a good job with these two. We'll talk about Malak here in a second. But before we do that, I do want to dive in and show a couple of these switch outs for Revan, because there are some really good alternate poses as well. But guys, I can't recommend this Revan enough. If you haven't picked it up, do so. I don't think it has sold out yet, but the ES is pretty low. I think it's like in the 600s if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you get this one before it's sold out. I think the value is probably just going to go up and go up on the aftermarket. And again, it's just such a well done Revan statue. So if he's one of your favorite characters, I think this is one you definitely need to add into your collection. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these switch outs as well. All right, so the first switch out we're going to take a look at here is just the switch out backhand. So we kept the red lightsaber up front. You can actually, again, switch the reverse grip to just a regular grip on the purple lightsaber back here. So it does allow you to kind of see it probably a little bit better when you have it displayed. But again, I just like the reverse grip so much, I think I'm going to go probably with that. But again, it's done really well, kind of at a different angle than the red lightsaber. Again, more out front, just kind of a standard grip in both hands. So I think it's a very legit pose. I do like the way that it looks. You can't really go wrong, I don't think, with the way you display it. We're about to show the other switch out arm up here. But again, nice switch out option to have. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the switch out arm as well. Okay, and you can see I left the back lightsaber the same for this pose, but this really does add quite a different pose to it when you switch out this front arm, and then he goes into the force pose, like he's like doing a force push with his front hand, and it looks really amazing. The hand sculpt is done really well. I mean, you can see like the tension in his fingers and his hand, and it really does add a nice look to the statue. I was actually, when I was first unboxing it and looking at it, I was very tempted to actually display it with this open hand in the front instead of the red lightsaber. But I just love that double lightsaber look with him so much with the red and purple. I'm going to have to stick with that, but I think this pose looks awesome too. And you can actually do this one. I think XM kind of made it in mind with kind of having the reverse grip and the back lightsaber with this force push pose, but you can really do it either way. And again, it is just really, really nice. Just kind of has does a nice job of kind of seeing the armor on the gauntlet and even the shoulder up here kind of outstretched out there. So very, very cool options on the switch outs. I don't really think you can go wrong. You can kind of mix and match them however you want to. But again, I wanted to show you this because I think this is a really, really cool alternate switch out option as well. So again, the statue just has the full package in my opinion. It's done so well. And now that we've kind of done all the switch outs on this one and everything, I think we're going to switch over to Malak. So stay tuned for that. We're going to review him as well. So now we're going to the second part of this double statue review. And one thing I wanted to talk about that I think is just really well done with the concept of these two statues is, again, kind of going back to the story of Revan and Malak. They were master and apprentice before Malak betrayed Revan, and they end up facing off, especially when you play the video game. But it's really cool because you can display them as if they're fighting together, kind of like I have them set up here, where they're kind of facing opposite directions and fighting off enemies together. But you can actually, you can turn them even more and actually put the bases back to back, like just right next to each other, which is another cool option. It's just kind of a more horizontal pose as opposed to kind of an angled one. But you can also switch them and literally face them off against each other as if they're fighting, which is really, really cool. I love that they did that. And again, I'm going to display them like this as if they're fighting on the same side when I have them in the case, because I just kind of like that master and apprentice feel. But again, it's really cool just having the option to face them off against each other like they're fighting. So it really works either direction. And kind of going to Malak here, we'll start at the base again. He does have the light up base like Revan does. Kind of a white top with kind of the black bars going across. There's a button on the side that turns it on. And one thing I didn't realize is this big back piece back here is actually separate from the base. It does not connect in any way. It's very heavy, and you basically just kind of set it down and then push this part of the base just kind of up against it. There's a little bit of a gap, but I mean, you won't even be able to tell once you actually have it displayed. But this back piece is actually really cool. I think it adds a lot. It's kind of angled going down, and it basically looks like Malak just stuck his lightsaber into the wall and just kind of dragged it down all the way across the back, and it kind of has this molten look, like he's just kind of melted this piece of the wall, which is really, really cool. A lot of great detail on the back, kind of in the metal work and the painting and everything, so it's done really, really well. I think it looks great. And the base kind of has that same kind of metal work too, some kind of bronzes and silvers and things going across. And again, just looks like a nice kind of spaceship or space station base, so it looks really, really good. And going to Malak, guys, the detail on this, similar to the Revan, is amazing. And I think one of the coolest thing about this set of statues is they provide some nice kind of contrast to each other. Like a lot of Sith are just kind of like just all wearing all black kind of robes, and really not too much else going on in a lot of cases. So like I talked about with Revan's, his costume is so detailed. Malak has a really cool look himself, and we'll kind of start down at the boots. These have kind of a more just kind of like leather look, but they have some nice kind of detail, some different kind of blacks and browns, and really nice texture, look a little bit more leather as opposed to armored like Revan's, but really nice detail on them. They look really good. And one of the kind of most telling and cool features of Malak's look is the red part of his armor and suit that he wears. It kind of has like ridges, almost like it's like wrap, but I don't think it actually is, but it kind of goes all throughout the suit, up his legs, kind of all the way down the arms, and then across kind of the midsection as well. And it just looks awesome. Again, very battle damaged, similar to Revan. It's all kind of nicked up, like he's been through a lot of battles, which is really, really cool. Just nice details, red, kind of black shading. Just looks really, really cool. And I've always loved his look. I think it's just very unique. And then he kind of has the kind of black robes and kind of tunic and sash kind of going across the back, and then down from his belt as well, similar to Revan. Again, nice movement, fully sculpted, kind of all nicked up and battle damaged on the material as well, so it looks really great. He's got this silver kind of belt going across the middle, nice design and detail on that. One thing I really like is you can see kind of across the midsection, he's got kind of these almost like belt buckles going across like his rib cage, and he has this nice kind of red armored chest piece kind of going down his middle all the way to the belt, and it provides really nice contrast because as opposed to kind of the ridged kind of material look, that is like armor, and it's red and has a more shiny paint to it as opposed to kind of the more mute kind of reds and blacks of the rest of the costume. So it does provide really, really nice contrast and just has a lot of detail on it as well. So it just looks really, really cool. And then going back to the cape, just has a nice kind of just side kind of swoosh going to it. Again, it's all kind of nicked up and battle damaged, especially across the bottom. So again, there's just so much just variance in the material of looking at the cape versus this part of his costume, the boots. They're just, the amount of sculpting detail in this is just really, really incredible. As it was with the Revan, I'm just really, really so impressed. So great job on the costume. And the cool thing too is the cape kind of comes up here into like a nice kind of neck piece as well, and it's like an armored kind of neck piece that goes all the way around here that has really nice detail on it as well. And before we get to his head, I want to talk about the hands here. The hands are sculpted really, really well. You've got some nice kind of like veins going down the hand. I love how this hand is not actually touching the lightsaber hilt. It just gives me this impression that he's drawing that lightsaber back and he's almost giving it like an extra like force push into like his jab that he's about to go into with his lightsaber. It's his classic red lightsaber. Really nice sculpting detail on the hilt. Again, doesn't light up at all, but it's got the nice kind of clear red blade going down. And again, nice sculpting detail in the hand here as it grips the lightsaber. And I just love the variance in this pose versus Revan's pose. They could have easily just kind of made him to where he was standing in a kind of similar position as Revan, but they gave you several options with Revan. This is kind of the one pose as far as the hand and arms go. But I think it's very unique and provides nice contrast between the two. So excellent job on the pose. And then you go up to his head. He has a very kind of unique look. He's got the bald head with the kind of blue like tattoos kind of going across from front to back. 4 separate ones, which is really, really cool. His expression, detail on the face, really the upper half of his face in this case, which we'll talk about in a second, looks really good. I love the expression, the intense expression as he's fighting here. And then one of the most classic things about his look is that metal jaw that he has. And what happened in that case is that he kind of challenges Revan at some point, and kind of like is almost like saying that he's sort of soft, and Revan doesn't take too kindly to that, so they end up going into like a lightsaber duel, and Revan actually cuts Malak's jaw off. So that's not just something that's like supposed to just look intimidating. Like he actually has that as a prosthetic because his bottom jaw is missing, which is one of the coolest things about this statue, because XM included the alternate portrait where you can actually display it with that metal prosthetic gone to where you just see Revan's face with no bottom jaw, and it looks really gruesome, just very Sith-like. I think it's a great alternate option. I am going to display it with the metal prosthetic because that's just kind of the look that he has most of the time, so I think I am going to just go with that. But I love that they provided that alternate portrait where you can really have that gruesome look with him just missing his lower jaw. So again, I just think this duo is amazing. They're both done exceptionally well. They're both such intimidating, cool Sith characters. I hope to see more of these type of characters kind of come in that are not as well represented, especially in like collectible form, but they just absolutely killed it with this Malak as well. I'm so glad I picked him up. His edition size, I believe, is about half of the Revan's, like in the 300s maybe, which is pretty insane to me. Like, I know he's maybe not one of the more well-known characters, but this is an excellent representation of a Sith. And I think, again, this value on this one's probably going to go up in the aftermarket after this sells out as well. So, knocked both of these out of the park. Excellent job, XM. Before we kind of go to the wrap-up of the video, I am going to get the switch out head portrait so we can take a look at that, because it's too awesome not to take a look at. So we'll be right back with that. So here we are with the alternate portrait for Malak. And again, just a much more just kind of gruesome, just gory look for this Sith Lord. And you can see on this other portrait, it does kind of have the metal chin kind of coming around, but everything kind of where the jaw and mouth is supposed to be, lower part of the mouth, it's just gone. It's been cut off by a lightsaber. Really, really crazy. I love that they included that, because that's not something XM had to do. But I think it provides just a really nice kind of alternate look to this statue, and just even something kind of more fierce than the metal prosthetic look gives it. And again, I'm going with the other look because that's kind of his main look that you see, but I really don't think you can go wrong with this portrait. I love that it was included, such great detail, such just fierceness to his face. And again, it's pretty crazy just seeing it without the whole like kind of lower jaw. So a little more gruesome than kind of your typical stuff you see in Star Wars. So I think it's a nice just kind of alternate look that you can have for Malak. So kudos to XM for including it. Really, really like that alternate option. All right, so thank you for joining me for our first ever double statue review on the channel. Guys, I had so much fun with this one. I can't believe I've got these two in my collection. This may, I probably would be willing to say it right now that these two together are like my favorite display in my entire collection. I don't know if I'm ready to put maybe the Revan as like my top statue in my whole collection. That might be the case. But just the set together, closely rivaled by my Mythos section, is probably my favorite part of my entire collection. That's how good I think these two statues are. And I hope to see more and more coming from XM. A Bastila next to maybe go with these two. But many more just from the Legends Star Wars line, because there's just so many great characters out there that have not been brought into statue form, especially by a licensed company. So XM, keep it up, because I think these are just so impressive. So thank you again for joining me. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do hit the bell so you'll get kind of the notifications of everything we do. We love to do statue reviews. We'll do a lot of like card openings and things like that for like Magic the Gathering. That's another thing that me and Drew really love to do. But again, you'll see all kinds of nerdy stuff coming from us. Sometimes we'll do just kind of nerd talks where we talk about statues, collectibles, maybe movies coming out, cards, whatever. But again, we just had such a fun time doing this for the channel. We've actually hit our 1 year mark, so our kind of 1 year special video with a giveaway is going to be coming out really soon. Thank you for everyone who has already subscribed. It means a lot to us. We plan on continuing to do this for hopefully many years to come. So we had a blast with it. Please be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think of these two statues. Let me know if you've picked them up yourself and what you think of them. I just think they're awesome, so I would love to hear your opinions. Please let us know what you think about any of our other kind of content as well. We'd like to maybe add some new things coming into the new year. Let us know things you like, maybe things we can do better. We'd love to hear it. But again, just thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And as always, collect what you like, not what's popular. Thanks, guys.